Goals for 2023. Excited to come up with some designs and get stuck into that. Purchasing this property. It's been a massive few years. We've had some extreme highs, some extreme lows, and we've had to change our plans a lot. So there's lots to catch you up on. So we're going to take a look at what has happened. We're also going to talk about my goals for 2023, my goals in the garden, some new spaces that I have plans for, what I'm intending on adding to my homestead, and also a few business goals, a few income goals, and a few life goals. So it's all happening today. Tour around my garden. My goals, tomato varieties, creating a income from my property, a little bit of a tip with food, and just get better and better as they go. So hard talking to the camera, but we're gonna plant something. Flies. Converted into edible garden. Doubled my growing space. Sweaty. I always put edible flowers. Not a monkey. As much as I would love to have monkeys in my backyard. Full of food. Today I'm sharing some pretty personal things. I mean, goals and life plans. Those are something that I don't usually share. So I would really appreciate it if you... that fly would leave. I would really appreciate it if you hit that like button. It really does help support my channel. So we left off my sustainability journey update at I think January the 20th, 2021. And back then I had, I think, 500 YouTube subscribers. I had a pretty decent amount of following on Instagram. I had built my website. I was posting blogs. I was doing some paid brand partnerships. I also had my pallet planters up and thriving and producing a whole lot of food, which was my kitchen garden. Lots of things that I was harvesting every night for dinner. My food forest was on the way, that had been pretty much planted and established. I've obviously tweaked that a lot over the last few years, but the key plants were in and ready to go. And my goals were to start to create an income from my gardens, from my passion for gardening, and be a little bit more self-sufficient in that sort of income streams. I put out my video on 100 different ways to make income from your garden, and I was testing out different ways of doing that, trying to grow as much of my own food as possible. I was experimenting with recipes and preserving and learning as much as I could. Our goals were also to save as much money as we could. This house was always a in-between house for us. It was a stepping stone to be able to purchase more land and build our self-sufficient homestead on that. So there was a lot of reservation with planting things here long term, and one of the main reasons for that was because we were planning on moving back to New Zealand, so we couldn't take the plants with us. You know, we were moving out into the country here in Perth, we could have planted a lot more trees and transplanted them with us, planted them in pots. There's some really amazing ways to establish a garden and then be able to take it with you to the next place. But that wasn't going to work for us. We can't take trees on a plane to New Zealand, sadly. So we were quite reserved because that was money that we were going to be investing into something that we weren't going to be able to, you know, use, and that was obviously going to take away money from our future goal of being able to set up a self-sufficient homestead in New Zealand. So we were very, very conscious about what we were spending money on, and it made it really hard because I wanted to go all in and plant all the trees. And you may have wondered why I hadn't really gone all in. I've still got grass, I've still got spaces that I could have developed, and that is the reason, because that was money that we were really putting aside to do that in New Zealand. But in the meantime, I was trying to learn as much as I could and grow as much food as I could, grow my following, grow my business, grow my brand, so that when we did move back to New Zealand, I could take that all with me. So by the end of 2021, we had been doing this for quite a while. So I'm only documenting this in the last few years, but we had been saving and working towards this, buying this self-sufficient property in New Zealand for a long time. And things weren't really going to plan. So the market in Perth had significantly dropped since we bought our property here, and the market in New Zealand had skyrocketed. It was hugely becoming unaffordable. The cost of living in New Zealand is really high. If you aren't familiar with that, the cost of living is so high and the wages are really low, so it's quite hard. It's still completely possible. People make it work, get creative, but it is a lot harder, I think, than here in Perth. We have it pretty good. It just didn't really make sense for us to sell our house here, which we may have made a loss at or broken even with, and gone back to New Zealand to buy a property in the peak of the market. So we have decided that we needed to do something different, because you can't keep doing the same thing and expect different results, right? So we decided that we were going to invest all of our savings into income producing assets, and just stay here longer and really like cement ourselves and focus on just being in this house. And this house has been amazing. We love our home. I still have so much space that I can develop and make more gardens. So it's not that we need more space. It was more that we wanted to set up a lifestyle in New Zealand which was closer to our family. Wow, it's really turning into a story time here. Okay, so a whole life story. No, let's get to the point. One of the things that we invested in was actually my dream property. So we weren't looking for it. There's a whole other story to this, and a whole lot of stars had to align. It definitely wasn't a smooth process, but we bought an A-frame cabin in the woods. I still can't even believe it. It's been a while since we bought it, and every time I think about it, every time I see photos, I die, and just like, I love this property. So for as long as I can remember, I think it was like one of the first posts, maybe the second or third post I ever posted on my Sustainable Holly Instagram page, and that's A-frame cabins. I love them, I'm obsessed with them, I just dream about them all day, every day. And one of them popped up when I was looking, I don't even know how. Honestly, it wasn't in the right area, it wasn't the right property, there's nothing that aligned really with our strategy, but it was a dream, and we ended up purchasing this property. So this property already had tenants in it, and it still has tenants in it. Nothing's really going to change on that front. At the moment, it is just someone else's beautiful home and that we own, and it's another piece to the puzzle. I do have some big dreams for this, right? So that probably is another video and another topic, but something else that we're going to work towards. We just consolidated this year, really. We've just been ticking along. I relaunched my membership. I've been growing my website, growing my mailing list, growing my YouTube channel. My channel is now at, what is it? I think 16,500, up from 500 at the start of 2021 in our last update. So we're at 16,500. I have loved connecting with all of you. So many emails, private messages. I've met a lot of you. I've given seedlings and cuttings away. I have just loved seeing how many people are inspired to grow more of their own food at home. So thank you to all of you. I have absolutely loved it. I can't wait to share more in 2023, and one of my goals is to post more. So you may have seen that I'm going to try and post twice a week and share more of my life, not just, you know, tips on how to grow more food at home, which is definitely coming, at least one of those videos a week. I'm also going to share another video each week that dives into a little bit deeper into, you know, what I get up to each week, what I'm planting each week, and also some of these goals that we're talking about today. 2022 was also the hardest year for my life. This channel is a huge passion of mine. Growing food, sharing my knowledge, all of those things, garden to plate recipes. At the moment, that is what I'm following. That is helping me get through and that is what I'm going to continue to do a lot more of. Here comes the wind, which is actually nice. It's so hot out here still. So there was a quote that literally dragged me through 2022, and that was, "Get up, nobody is coming to save you." And that's a quote that I set at the start of 2022. I had no idea what was to come, and I repeated that quote so many times over the last year that it worked. I mean, I'm here, I may not be all in one piece, but it just kept pushing through. So I know a lot of people set words or intentions for the year, but I just set that quote, and honestly I am so glad I did. So I want to set a new quote for 2023. Hard now and easy later, or easy now and hard later. So that is about, if you want to get ahead, you want to do something, you need to choose hard now so that it's easy later. Choosing the easy option now often means that it's going to be a lot harder later, and that really comes into play with procrastination. That is, I am the queen of procrastination, so for me that is something that I really want to focus on. If I do the hard things now, it's going to be easy later on. And that can be in anything in life. You know, if you want to put off doing the washing, that's easy to do now, but later on you're going to have piles and piles of washing, so it's going to be hard later. Alright, so my goals for 2023. We're going big. Grow my membership, grow my YouTube channel. I would love to get to 50,000 subscribers here on YouTube. That is an incredible amount of people to help, to be able to interact with, to connect with, and to get to know more. So I'm really excited for that. I want to grow my membership because that is something that lights me up. I have created a space that is absolutely everything that I love. It's garden to plate recipes, it's how-to gardening tips, it's a community of people sharing their gardens, sharing questions, posting photos of any problems they have in the garden. I'm able to give them advice all the time and see their garden harvests, see their gardens progress. Nothing I love more than that community. So I'm going to continue to develop it, make it better, grow it, and introduce more people, as many people as I can to it from around the world, because we all have something to offer and we can all help each other grow. I've also got a few more gardening projects in mind. So one of them is here. We're going to try, and these shade cloths that you can see here, these are absolutely necessary for gardening here in Perth, well, gardening in my garden here in Perth, because it is so hot out here. Intense heat. I don't have any shade. Things would get crispy and burnt if I didn't have these shade cloths on here protecting in summer, but they aren't really visually attractive. They make it really hard to take photos and film, and I don't know, my neighbours probably don't think they're that great either, but I'm going to upgrade those into something more permanent, something that is living. So that is my goal for 2023. We're going to get some living shade on these gardens, which I'm super excited about. I'm not too sure on the exact details yet, but those would be to come. I'm also going to take over another patch of grass. Alright, so this patch of grass here is dead grass in summer. So much space to create productive gardens. It is really hot out here, it's really dry out here, it's very windy and exposed, and this right next to my gardens here, so I'm going to try and do something in here that's going to help protect these gardens here and be really productive space. Well, that is still really low maintenance. This grass is horrible, it's creeper grass, it's hard to get rid of, so I'm not quite sure what the go is. If you've got any suggestions what you think I should do out here, it's a pretty large space, so we have lots of room to play with, and I'm excited to come up with some designs and get stuck into that. A few other things that I want to add into my homestead are a really decent sized worm farm setup. So I'm going to have to do that. There's something that is protected from our really hot summers, so it's going to have to be pretty energy efficient and not get too hot. And I want it to be quite a decent size so that it produces a whole lot of nutrients for my garden. And as well, to complement that, I want to upscale my composting systems. I want bigger composting systems. I want to produce more of my own soil and compost here from my garden, whether that is to incorporate maybe some more mulching systems and get a mulcher, or have some specific compost bays that I can put a lot more green waste in. And then in the kitchen, something that I really want to develop is I want to be a master. I'm not even a beginner yet, but I'm already talking about being a master of sourdough and canning. So those are two things that I'm really going to focus on, and that is to be an absolute pro at that. And there's absolutely no reason I can't, because there's so much information out there. YouTube is an incredible place, so I'm sure I will have no problem finding some tutorials on how to do those things, and really just keep practicing so that I can incorporate those into my channel a lot more, because I love bread, and also I want to be able to can and preserve a lot of my produce more long term, because I am going to be getting more and more harvests from my garden as my fruit trees have become more mature. So a lot of my fruit trees now are hitting that 5-year, 6-year, 7-year mark, and they're going to be producing a lot of fruit in the coming years. My feijoas are looking like amazing. There's so much fruit on there, so those are something that I would love to be able to really capture and store for the rest of the year, because they are such a treat. And on more of a personal level with goals, I want to get better at mountain biking. I've just got into it, I'm loving it. I would love to see where I can go with that, and just be outside, be outdoors, be active and fit and healthy without having to pay for a gym and be inside, because I love being outside. So the more active I can be outside, the better. Another thing that I really want to do, and it's something that we do often, is go camping more. So we have really seen a whole lot of WA in the last 10 years. There's still a few places. WA is a huge place. That is one of the benefits of living here. There's so much to do and see, so I would love to do a few more big trips in WA to get to those far, hard to reach places that we haven't got to yet. There's just nothing like sleeping outside under the stars and waking up with the sun, having no reception and no way to be getting messages and checking your phone. It's a good way to be forced to shut off and disconnect, and I love that. There is just nothing like it. So whenever we get a chance to go away camping, we do, and that's something that I really want to be able to develop future into our goals, to spend more time doing that. And by having some sustainable income, that's going to really help. So at the moment, I'm in the trenches. I am putting in so many hours to grow my business and be able to produce an income, which I would love to be able to do that more, and maybe even travel Australia, and maybe I'll even get to come and visit more of you in different states. So that would be an incredible opportunity to come and visit you. Maybe we could also do some garden tours in your garden. So let me know, where should I come to first, because that would be an amazing thing. Let's take this show on the road. You never know what 2023 is going to bring. We aren't meant to stay the same. Every single decision we've made or haven't made has led us to the point that we're at today. So I just want future Holly to be really thankful for the decisions that I made today. If you aren't chasing your dreams, what are you doing? Really, that's something that always sticks in my mind. My life mantra, not just my yearly quote, that is something that I think about all the time.